Hello and welcome to today's lesson. We are not starting anything new, no new materials or concepts today. We are getting for the Module 1 test that is going to be tomorrow. So one of the directions or one of the problems says that we have 8 1/2, so write this as a decimal. So 1/2, some of you already know what that decimal is. If you don't, remember we're going to do long division. The denominator goes on the outside, numerator goes on the inside. So 2 doesn't go into 1, so we're going to make that 10. How many times does 2 go into 10? Make sure you put your decimal up there. 2 goes into 10 5 times, and 5 times 2 is 10. No remainder. So we're going to have the decimal value of 8.5. All right, in the second one, I don't know this one off the top of my head, so I'm going to have to do long division. Remember that this number 8 goes on the outside. 3 goes on the inside. 8 doesn't go into 3, so make sure you put in your decimal, put the number at the top. You should have a piece of paper out, and you should really try these two problems, stop the video, and then play the video to correct it and see how you're doing. And then when you go to the next screen, stop it, do the problem, and then play it again, because then I'm going to work through it for you. So if you can keep going through and stopping the video, doing the problem, and then checking it, that will be a good review for you for the Wednesday test. All right, so 8 doesn't go into 3, so we're going to put a 0 to hold that place value, and I'm going to put in a 0. Now 8 goes into 30. Let's see, 8 times 4 is 32. That's too big, so I'm going to pick 3. 8 times 3 is 24. 30 minus 24 is 6. We still have a remainder, so I'm going to pull down another 0. Let's see, 8 times 8 is 64. That's too big, so I'm going to go in here 7. 7 times 8 is 56. 60 minus 56 is 4. Again, I still have a remainder. Nothing's repeating, so I'm going to put down another 0. 8 goes into 40 5 times, and that's what I like to see, because now 40 minus 40 gives me a 0, so this is a terminating decimal, and 3/8 is 0.375. All right, so right now you should freeze, stop the video, and you should do these 3 problems, or 4 problems here, and then when you're done, go ahead and play the video again. All right, so we're going to write this as a fraction. So remember, this is the tenths, hundredths place. So we're going to write 13 over 100. And that is already simplified, so we don't have to do that anymore. All right, 7. Okay, so there's a difference between this repeating bar and the previous one where we don't have the repeating bar. So remember, when we don't have it, that's when you put 10, 100, 1,000 on the bottom. When you have that repeating bar, that's when we put the 9s on the bottom. And only one number, one digit is repeating, so this is going to be 7 over 9. Now when we look at 5, we've got that repeating bar over 1, 2, 3 numbers. So that means on the bottom, I'm going to have 1, 2, 3 9s, and I'm going to 571 goes on top. All right, number 6. The big thing we have to remember here is that you're going to have that whole number 9 and then a fraction. So this is 2. This is the tenths place. So I'm going to put a 10 on the bottom and a 2 on the top. Now remember, I can always simplify, so divide by 2 over 2. So I still have that whole number of 9, and 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 10 divided by 2 is 5. So this answer is going to be 9 and 1/5. All right, solve for x. What number squared gives you 121? Now remember, you can take 11 times 11, and remember there is a second number, and that you can take negative 11 times negative 11. Okay, this is cubed root, so this means the same number, and we have to have 3 of them. So if we take 3 times 3 times 3, what's this? 9, and 9 times 3 is 27. Well, that's nowhere near 125. So let's 5 times 5 times 5. So 5 times 5 is 25. And now 25 times 5 is 125. So x must be 5. All right, number 9, it's a fraction, but that's okay. So we're still going to have 2 answers just like we did in number 7. So we can write it like this, plus and minus, and now we just have to do the top. It's just kind of like when they give us a fraction, we have to do this twice, once for the numerator, once for the denominator. So the square root of 49 is 7, and the square root of 100 is 10. So our 2 answers are a positive 7 over 10 and a negative 7 over 10. All right, a square patio. Whoops, I think we skipped a problem. Okay, square patio. All right, square patio. That means that each side length is the same. And it has an area of 225 feet squared. So we have to take some number times some number, and it has to give us 225. And remember, these need to be the same number. So if we take 10 times 10, that equals 100. Okay, that's not big enough. And 11 times 11 is 121. 12 times 12 is 144. So what times what? Same number gives you 225. And it's 15 times 15. So each side length is going to be 15 feet. So this is just another way of us solving this kind of problem right here. What squared equals 121? This is the same exact kind of problem. All right, patio has, so this is a new one. And now this one is 45. Now, this one, when we take the square root of 45, you can see here it says round to the nearest tenth. That means we're not going to be able to find an exact answer. So we want to find some perfect square roots that are around 45. So if we take the square root of 36, square root of 37, square root of 38, square root of 39, square root of 40, 41, 42, it's a lot of numbers, but I want to be as accurate as I can, so I am doing this. Oh, I'm going to run out of room. 47, 48, and 49. So if I want to find between, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So half of 12 is 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So right here. This is where my 6.5 is going to be. So what is the square root of 45 going to be? Well, between here, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 numbers. So 1, 2, 3. This would be right between. So this is going to be 6.75. So I'd say that's a little bit smaller. So I would say that this is about 6.7. Now, if you said 6.6, I would probably let that go too because we're estimating and we're rounding. Okay, so notice, find the whole numbers it's between, 6 and 7. Then find the middle so you know where your 6.5 is, and then give a good estimate from there. All right, classifying. So this is where we're talking about our real numbers. And remember, real numbers are broken up into rational numbers and irrational numbers, and then rational numbers. So these are all your fractions and decimals. And then we have integers and whole numbers. Okay, remember irrational is pi and square root of your non-perfect square. Okay, so the square root of 2. Is that perfect or not perfect? Square root of 2 is not perfect. So all of these numbers are going to be real, and then it's going to be irrational. -2, well, that's not a whole number. That's not an integer. And remember, it can't be irrational because that's pi in a square root. That doesn't have a square root. So negative decimal, all numbers are going to be real, and then we're going to have rational. All right, square root of 36. That's a perfect square. So this is equal to 6. So this is going to be a whole number. It's going to be an integer. It's going to be rational, and all numbers are real. All right, 27 1/3. Well, it's not a square root and it's not pi, so it's not going to be irrational. Rational numbers are your ones that have fractions and decimals. So this is going to be real and rational. All right, square root of 16. That's one of those perfect squares. So the square root of 16 is 4, and then we have this negative in front of it, so it's a -4. Well, -4 is not a whole number. That's, remember, 0, 1, 2, 3. But then when we add those negatives, that's where we get those integers. So this is going to be integers, and it is rational, and all numbers are real. All right, estimating. So we have the square root of 60. So the square root of 64 is a perfect square, so that's 8. And then the square root of 81 is 9. Let's see. Oh, 60 is not between that, so we got to go even further. I missed one, so we have 7 squared, which is going to be the square root of 49. Well, 60 is really close to this 8, so I'm going to say that that's about 7.8. Okay, it's going to be on the upper end. It's not quite there. It's definitely going to be bigger than a half, so about 7.8. All right, 70. It looks like I already did that one because 70 is going to fit between, it's going to be in here, square root of 70. So that's between 8 and 9. All right, last problem on the review before we get to the assignment is ordering these from least to greatest. And it's typically easier if we do this all in decimals. So let's figure out what this is going to be. Square root of 4, square root of 5, square root of 6, square root of 7, square root of 8, square root of 9. So here's 2 and here's 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. So right here is 2.5, and it looks like 8's going to be bigger than that, so let's say that's about 2.7. Okay, then we have 3, negative, and all right, so this as an improper, 8 goes into 4 twice, that'd be 8, and then we have 1 left over. So 1/4, what is that as a decimal? Well, think about $1 divided into 4 pieces, and isn't that quarters? 2.25. So now I need 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers. So what is the smallest? Well, the smallest one is definitely going to be that negative value. Then what do we have? 2.7, 3, or 2.25. 2.2 or 2.7? Well, that 2.2 is smaller, so make sure you put the original number, 9/4. And then this 2.7 is your square root of 8. And the biggest number that we have here is 3. All right, so that should be a review of all of Module 1. Good luck on your review assignment.